Let me ask you something. Ever have a morning so wild you wonder if the universe is just messing with you for its own entertainment? Yeah, well, buckle up because the day I turned a $50,000 pink Tesla into modern art started with nothing but a hot cup of coffee and the kind of peace you only get after you've paid your dues. This isn't just a story about a driveway, folks. It's about how a regular guy got pushed 1 inch too far and decided, you know what? Not today. They say every neighborhood's got one, right? That person who acts like the street was named after them, who thinks the rules are more like suggestions for other people. On Maple Creek Lane, we got more than our fair share of characters, but nobody was ready for the Coington family. Trust me, I wasn't either. At least not until their Pepto-Bismol pink spaceship landed in my driveway and refused to take off. This was the same driveway where my late wife Elena used to plant those stubborn roses by the porch, where we taught our daughter Simone to ride her bike, where we watched fireflies on muggy summer nights. Sacred ground, you know? So picture it. I'm in my slippers, coffee in hand, open my front door, and there it is. A bubblegum pink Tesla glowing in the sunrise, like it's auditioning for a Barbie commercial. For a second, I honestly thought maybe I was still dreaming, or maybe the leftover catfish I'd eaten was fighting back. But no, it was real. No note. No explanation. Just this big, shiny insult to my peace parked dead center where my F-150 should be. I did what any polite neighbor would do, left a friendly note under the wiper parked on the street, figured it was just a mix-up. Next day, it's back. No note, just a fresh coat of attitude. That's when I saw her, the owner of the world's loudest car. Teenage girl, maybe 16, blonde ponytail, tennis skirt, scrolling her phone like oxygen depended on it. She looked at me like I was the one in the way, barely mumbling. It's just for a few minutes. I get picked up for school, bus stops too far, and before I could tell her the bus stop was literally a 3-minute walk, her mom rolled up. Now, Carol Coington, if you've never met a real-life Karen, let me tell you this woman invented the playbook. Blonde hair shellacked to her head, fake friendly smile, stretched tight bracelets jangling louder than her voice. She looked at me, my house, my old truck, and dismissed all of it with one sniff. She's just here for a minute. It's not hurting anybody. Don't be so dramatic. I kept my cool, explained it was private property, tried to be neighborly, but she just rolled her eyes and sped off, leaving me with the world's most expensive lawn ornament. You ever feel that switch flip inside you? The one where you realize, okay, we're done being nice. That was me right then. Tried the HOA. Gerald Fitzwilliam, king of bureaucracy, promised a strongly worded letter. Yeah, letter. I could picture Carol using it as a coaster for her mimosa. So I went to Plan B, good old-fashioned passive aggression. Woke up early, parked my F-150 tight behind the Tesla, blocked it in good. Sat inside, sipped coffee, waited for the fireworks. Madison comes out, sees her car trapped, freaks out. 5 minutes later, Carol's barreling down the street, veins popping, screaming my name. Move your truck. Madison's late. I just smiled. Well, this is my driveway. Guess she's blocked in. You could see her brain short-circuiting. You'll regret this, Mr. Thorne. Lady, you have no idea. Word got around fast. Mrs. Gable next door called giggling that it was better than Matlock. The Parkers gave me the side eye, but most of the neighbors, they were rooting for me. See, this wasn't just about a parking spot anymore. It was about respect, about whether the people who built this place were going to get steamrolled by folks who thought money bought everything. The pink Tesla vanished for a couple of days, felt like I'd won. Then Friday morning I heard its sprinkler hissing, rhythmic thumping. Looked out, and wouldn't you know, my old oscillating lawn sprinkler had somehow twisted itself around, giving that pink Tesla the wash of its life right through an open window. The interior of those fancy leather seats soaked. Madison shows up, doesn't notice at first, then opens the door, gets drenched, and screams loud enough to rattle the roses. Here comes Carol, heels pounding up my walkway, demanding to know if I did it. Carol, these old sprinklers, you just can't trust them. If only that car wasn't parked there, huh? Her face went every shade of red. She knew I knew, but she couldn't prove a thing. But Carol wasn't done. She called the police. 2 officers show up, young guy named Ramirez and his partner, who looked like he'd seen it all. Carol was out there on the curb, flailing and shouting about harassment and property damage. I told the officers the truth. Her daughter parked in my driveway, ignored my notes. My truck just happened to block her in. And as for the sprinkler, just an accident. Ramirez looked at the scene, then at Carol and said, "Ma'am, this is a civil dispute. Our advice, don't park in his driveway." Never seen someone so furious get shut down so fast. But Carol had another card to play, a big white envelope from Coynton Blackwood and Associates. Cease and desist legal threats, talk of emotional distress, liens on my home. Signed by her husband, Robert Coynton, Esquire. That's right, her own private lawyer. They wanted me scared, ready to fold, maybe even to give up my house. For a second, I'll admit I was shaken. But when Carol sauntered over that night, smiling smug, telling me how her husband never loses, how sad it'd be if I had to sell my house, well, that's when fear turned to something else. Cold, heavy like steel. That's when I decided I'm done playing. The last straw came on the anniversary of Elelina's passing. My sister Chloe brings over lemon pound cake every year. We sit on the porch, listen to Sam cook, keep my wife's memory alive. That afternoon, Chloe pulls up, can't park in my driveway because that Tesla's back, big as ever. Chloe hugs me tight, angry for me. I looked at that car parked where Eleanor and I built our lives and knew it wasn't just a car. It was a declaration. It was disrespect on 4 wheels. That night, I sat in my armchair, stared out at the dark silhouette in my driveway, and planned. 35 years at the shipyard welding cutting building. My garage wasn't just for parking, it was a workshop, a sanctuary. I pulled out the HOA bylaws. Any vehicle left more than 48 hours without consent is considered abandoned. Refuse may be removed at the owner's discretion. Madison's Tesla had been there since Friday morning. It was Sunday night. That was my loophole. Removed, not towed. I set up my tools like a surgeon. Jack stands, floor jack impact wrench, pry bars, and that beautiful oxy-acetylene torch. After midnight, I went to work. Jacked up the car, took off all 4 wheels, arranged them neatly in my garage. Doors, hood, trunk, all unbolted and laid out like petals on my lawn. Sawzall chewed off the fenders. Then the torch, a few precise cuts, and the roof sagged windshield shattered by one righteous swing of my ball-peen hammer. By dawn, that Tesla was no longer a car. It was a monument, call it consequences. A warning in metal and glass. Sun comes up, a neighborhood starts to stir. Madison walks out, sees the carnage, and lets out a scream that'd make a horror movie proud. Carol flies out of her house robe, flying face purple. They rage, they wail, threaten lawsuits, call the cops. But this time I'm ready, bylaws, photographs, logs of ignored HOA complaints, all laid out for Officer Ramirez. "Sir, I did remove abandoned property from my driveway." The officers looked at Carol, looked at the bylaws, looked at my evidence, and then tried not to laugh. "It's a civil matter, ma'am. You'll have to sue." The tow truck driver took one look and said, "Lady, that's not a tow, that's a salvage job. Gonna cost you." That was the end of the Coynton legend. No lawsuit ever came. 2 months later, a for sale sign appeared on their yard. They packed up, moved out maybe to a neighborhood with fewer creative old men. In the end, it wasn't about the car. It was about respect, about a quiet man's right to peace in his own home. And if you think a little pink Tesla can beat a lifetime's worth of patience and skill, well, you haven't met enough welders. So let me ask you, where's the line for you? What would you do if someone crossed it? Drop a comment. Tell me where you're watching from, and don't forget to subscribe if you want more stories like this. Justice is sweetest when it's served with a side of apple pie and a clear conscience.